On February 23rd, Sony announced that not only is Days Gone coming to PC, but a whole bunch of others are coming as well. Now, they haven't confirmed which other Sony titles are coming to PC, but today on Chaos Gaming, welcome everybody, we're going to be taking a look at Sony's massive extensive library and checking out some games that I think absolutely should be high up on the to-do list. You guys let me know which of these you would like to see on PC. Drop a like, and let's start off with Infamous. Yes, back in the PS3 days, it was one of the biggest franchises in Sony's lineup, but it seems like ever since the PS4 came out, people forgot it even existed. It was a spin-off on a superhero genre. It had you play as a newly superpowered young man who has to figure out just how much of a hero he wants to be. Now, throughout the game, you struggle with good and evil, and the storytelling is some of the best ever told in a superhero game. It was developed by Sucker Punch, who have since gone on to make the excellent Ghost of Tsushima, which also should get a PC port sometime soon, but it seems people have forgotten their previous work. Infamous is a great series, and I would love to see it come to PC. I'm sure I'm not alone with that one. Next up, BLOODBORNE. This is probably the most requested PC port out of Sony's entire catalog. After all, the Soul series has a huge following in the PC community, and I have to say, it's a little odd that BLOODBORNE never left the PS4. This was one of PS4's first big exclusives, and many still consider it to be one of the best games from software ever made. Now, despite this huge success, it had some flaws related to the PS4's hardware, long load times, low frame rates, some issues. But could you imagine what people could do with BLOODBORNE if it was brought to the PC? Not only could you fix up the problems with the original, but you can see additional features like mods, controller support, and a lot more. It has to be one of the next games that Sony ports to PC. It's way too big of an audience for Sony to ignore. You know another one that's way too big? And we just got the state of play. I don't know. Ratchet and Clank. Before Insomniac Games was blowing us away with Spider-Man, they were setting the standard for 3D platforming in the Ratchet and Clank series. These games were all the rage during the PS2 days, and it did struggle on the PS3 and 4, but the franchise is trying to make a comeback. It's all about 3D platforming, fun, action, great characters, dumb puns, and thanks to the recent Ratchet and Clank games, a lot of fans have been asking for ports of the old ones for the PS5, which we're getting, but why not the PC as well? Imagine a huge collection similar to the Crash Insane trilogy, but Ratchet and Clank. All the PS2 games remastered on the PC. This next one is kind of a personal pick. The Order 1886. Now, I've talked a lot of crap about this game, but I've also given it some handed praise over the years because there's a lot of things the game did good. The Order 1886 was a third-person shooter set in an alternate history where the Knights of the Round Table act as kind of a peacekeeping force in a steampunk world full of werewolves. You heard me right. That's where the game was supposed to be, but what it really ended up being was a generic third-person cover shooter. The Order was highly hated for its short length, shallow gameplay, but it was amazing to look at. It is a technical marvel, and it still blows my mind that the game looked this good on the PS4. Now, could you imagine how much better it could look on the PC? Higher frame rate, higher resolution, maybe a mod to get rid of the stupid black bars on the top and the bottom of the screen. It could finally reach its true potential on the PC. Now, I don't think it's going to be one of the first Sony ports, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if it actually comes eventually. Now let's talk about Mr. Spider-Man. What do you guys think about Spider-Man 3 No Way Home? Well, let's talk about that somewhere else. Many consider Spider-Man to be one of the best superhero games ever made. I don't disagree with that. Developed by Insomniac Games, the PS4 Spider-Man basically took all the best elements of every other superhero game, mixed them together in a pot, and made an awesome experience with a beautiful open world. The combat was fun, the story was great. It also got a spin-off sequel on Miles Morales. It didn't do a whole lot of new, but it was still an excellent experience because it was more of an already great formula. I mean, the open world and the visuals are screaming for a PC port. Could you imagine this game running on a nice PC? Visuals, smoother gameplay, mod support. I mean, Spider-Man PS4 could soon become Spider-Man PC, and if it does, I think people will absolutely flock to it. Now we've arrived at number 5. Sly Cooper the series. Do you guys remember these games? It was one of the big Sony exclusives during the PS2 days, and it never reached the level of Ratchet and Clank, but it was popular. In fact, there was supposed to be a movie adaptation, but it's been stuck in development for years now, although you can still find a trailer on YouTube. It's weird. Sly took the expected 3D platforming formula from the PS2 era, but added more stealth elements as you were playing as a gang of thieves trying to pull off a series of heists. It had a really good art style, great sense of humor. The series still had a lot of fans to this day, but it seems it's been a long time since we got a new entry. People forgot about it. I think it'd be cool on PC, personally. And I know you guys haven't forgot about this one. God of War 2018. One of the best games of the last few years. I'm not going to argue with that. A full reboot of the series, and a lot of people, well, they're thinking this is next up on Sony's PC port list. After all, the game's director, Cory Balrog, has said many times on Twitter, he really wants the game to go to PC. Well, now that Sony's doing PC ports, this one seems to be prime real estate. Reimagined the original trilogy's concept, made it more serious. Kratos was no longer an unhinged demigod, but a reserved and caring father trying to protect his family from Norse mythology. Now, God of War took a lot of inspiration from modern action games for its combat, but it made everything else unique. Could you imagine God of War on PC? What if they did mods? It'd be crazy. Let's stick with that vein. God of War the trilogy. Come on now. You got to port the originals too. God of War started back on the PS2, and for those who played it, it's very different from the 2018 version. The original God of War trilogy was very fast-paced, very high-octane, hack and slash, Kratos taking his revenge out on Mount Olympus, killing gods one by one. God of War was known for its intense action, intense visuals, everything, soundtrack, everything. It was awesome. God of War 2018 was a great reimagining of the concept, but I know a lot of people miss the old school games combat system and the old school Kratos. Could you imagine if they remastered it and put it on PC? I mean, people would go nuts. People would also go nuts for Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection. Yep, one of those games that got way bigger than anybody expected. The first 3 games were on the PS3. The 4th was on the PS4, and each one was a solid experience. Most people will agree, myself included, Uncharted 2 is the best, while others argue 4 or 3. Nobody seems to like the first one anymore. I'm not sure why, but it is what it is. Uncharted is one of Sony's biggest properties, and I'm guessing it's very high up on their to-do list when it comes to PC ports. I mean, it's known for its action and visuals. Could you imagine it on a high-end PC? I mean, silky smooth frame rate, perhaps the revival of its multiplayer. I mean, the Uncharted games have pretty underrated multiplayer modes. Now, if they got all ported to PC, that could kickstart it. And once again, the mods. Could you imagine Uncharted mods? But at number 1 today, The Last of Us. This is another one that I am absolutely positive is high up on Sony's to-do list. One of the best reviewed, best-selling games of all time. They would be fools not to bring it to a new audience. The Last of Us was Naughty Dog's official departure from lighthearted action-adventure and into mature, deep storytelling. It is known for the story, but it's also known for its visuals and its gameplay. If this game came to PC, I can already imagine how much better it would look, and this was already a really good-looking game. Plus, like I said before, The Last of Us has a super underrated multiplayer as well that could have a resurgence. It's one of Sony's most prized possessions, and they're very aware of how much money could be made by porting it to PC. Not only would you be getting sales from people who never owned the original version, but you would also be getting sales from fans of the game who want to experience it on a powerful platform. Mark my words, The Last of Us is coming to PC very soon. It is. And there you have it. Those are PlayStation games that absolutely need to come to PC sooner than later. Let me know one game that I didn't include that you think should be on this list. I'll see you guys soon.